Let's go to the room. 80% of the billionaires are first generation billionaires. Most of the Nobel Prize winners are from humble, middle class backgrounds. But there is one thing that's common in all of them: they all read a lot of books. But here is something that everybody seems to be getting wrong. It's not about the knowledge or information that you get from books, it's something that happens to your brain that rewires it completely and forces it to do great stuff. Let's dive in. Hola friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mayank. I'm a PhD researcher working on nano devices. And exactly 3 years ago, I started reading books. And here are my three lessons, or I would say three ways in which books rewire your brain. Number one, you must have heard this saying: you're nothing but an average of five people you hang out with. Imagine if you could choose those five people. Let's say if I have the opportunity to choose five people to hang out with, I would rather choose, let's say, Steve Jobs, Richard Feynman, some nice actor, Morgan Freeman, philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, or some nice innovator, Leonardo da Vinci, let's say. Now imagine hanging out with these legends. You become genius without even trying. Just the same way you get the good and the bad qualities of your friends. Imagine books as your peer group, and the moment you start seeing it like that, you'd start playing around with the idea much better. Just like you have friends with whom you go to party, there are friends with whom you go to gym, there are friends with whom you talk about the deeper emotional problems. Similarly, you can choose friends, different books. So the qualities that you want to improve, the qualities that you want to inculcate in yourself, just choose a group of books and read them. And there is no limitation. You don't need to read and finish one book at a time and then go to the next book. No, you can play around. Just like you party with some friends on Saturdays, you hang out with some other friends on Monday to Friday, you play sports with some of them on Sunday. Similarly, you can play with the books. So right now what I'm doing is I read one page of philosophy lesson every morning the moment I wake up.
Cat
Then in
moms
the
used to
evening, I'm
call
listening
this
to the
average
audiobook of
rate
Steve Jobs'
kid
biography by
decided to
Walter
seed investors
Isaacson
so that they could
while I'm
buy the
cooking or
future
eating food.
themselves.
And then if I get some time in the night, I try to read the 80-20 principle by Richard Koch. Point number two, it lets you time travel. We all have heard this thing. Oh, back in the day, it was easy to do this thing, but now it's really hard. I'll give you my personal example. So I was doing a lot of research to figure out, oh, how hard is it to start something on YouTube or get it to a wider audience or reach to people somehow. And every advice seems to be like, oh, back in the day it was fine, but now it's super competitive. Or back in the day this thing was easier, now a lot of people or a lot of really smart people are trying to do this. But the funny part is, this interview was 4 years ago. And we all know in the last 4 years, some YouTuber who has started and established himself or herself as a potential credible original creator. So that means there is always a scope. Now think of books. Let's say you're reading a book which was written in 1995 or 1990, let's say. You're basically reading the version of future as people in 1990 imagined. But here's the funny part. The future that they imagined in 1990 is today. It's the present. So you can easily compare what they thought the future would be and how it turned out to be. For example, I think in 1970s when we went to the moon, everybody thought in next 10 or 15 or 20 years we'll have flying cars, or I don't know, humans will be flying, things like that. And in night or 50 years ago people thought that, oh, the overpopulation will kill the planet completely, we won't have enough food to survive, or every doomsday call which came out to be false. So, read a book, it lets you time travel and it opens your perspective. It lets you see beyond the chaos, beyond the complexities of the current world, and you would start seeing the patterns that things which are being fear mongered now, because fear sells easily, or things which are being told now, this is hard, it was easy in the past. When you read something from the past, you'll understand people thought the same way 30 years ago as well. And the last one, which is the most trickier one, Tell me, what is the most difficult thing to learn? I can bet any answer that you would give, anybody who would write any answer in the comment or in their notebooks would be wrong. Why? I'll tell you. Because the moment you know that this is the most difficult thing for you to learn, it's the easiest thing. You know what you want to learn. It's just a matter of getting the right resources, getting the knowledge, and putting in some effort, and you get there. The most difficult thing to learn is the thing that you don't know that you don't know. So if you don't know what you don't know, what will you learn? How you do this? You read books. Books take you to an idea which you don't know that you don't know. I'll give you a personal example. I read this book, I think few months ago. It's called $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. And I came across a very important idea in this book, and I did not knew that I don't know this idea. So the idea is, whenever we are trying to start something new, we always think that we need to start somewhere else, somewhere across the world. Somebody is waiting there for our idea to explode and come true. But no, this book gives you another idea. You don't need to go beyond your circle of influence. You need to start from your circle of influence and slowly widen up. So you don't need to find somebody random who doesn't know you. You start with your friends, then friend of friends, then extended circle, and let it expand slowly. So this is how I started this channel like 50 days ago. I started asking my friends, what do you think of this video? What do you think of that video? Similarly, if you want to, let's say, start playing a guitar or writing poetry or, I don't know, painting or whatever it could be, you don't need to go beyond your circle of influence. Start from the circle of influence. And since you're very curious about learning the unknown unknowns, here's my video on unexpected learnings that I learned from making Stoic philosophy videos for a month. You will be surprised. I bet that. See you on the next one, and you can check it out here.